So a couple months ago, I had contracted COVID-19. No big deal, I went ahead and went through it. After all, it felt like nothing more than a serious man cold. After plenty of bed rest and everything else, I still needed to go ahead and do something, so I decided to go ahead and find a game to play. I looked around and I listened to influencers, and what they told me about was a game called Slay the Spire. Now, playing Slay the Spire right there, it was pretty much okay. It's nothing more than a card-based game that you pick and choose, having attack, defense, or even skills or powers. But with that, you then have to go ahead and try and make your way all throughout there to quote-unquote slay the spire, which is a giant heart at the center of it all, and where you defeat it and then you're done. However, a lot of things are pretty difficult with the game itself, or having a little bit of difficulty in of itself. So while playing the game, you have 4 classes. You have Ironclad, you have Silent, you have Defect, and you have Watcher. Each one of them is unlocked after the next one beats the Spire. So all you have to do is beat one and then you'll get the other. The more and more you keep leveling, the more and more you keep playing, you'll gain experience, which unlocks more cards and unlocks more relics. That seems pretty straightforward, and you think that's pretty fun. Actually, no, it's not, because the more and more you unlock cards and the more you unlock relics, the more difficult it actually gets for you to find the correct cards or relics to allow you to slay the spire. So in the end, it's a giant, long-winded ability to make sure that you can't actually beat the game, thus going ahead and having to choose other formats, such as doing customization or any other playthroughs. However, this takes a long time, and otherwise it feels very much unsatisfying, because you're sitting there having to cater to creating the game in a certain way to go ahead and beat said game, when in fact the game itself should have the appropriate amount of challenge while giving you enough time to strategize how you beat it. This is the flaws of Slay the Spire. You can go through, you can beat it, you can say you beat it, but in the end you haven't really beaten it. That right there shows it has that roguelike mentality that actually isn't a very good implementation, because all you're doing is padding out the game, making it longer. If you have a short game, you should enjoy the short game. If you have a long game, you have a long game. The most important thing that you should focus on is replayability. And you can say there's replayability with the 4 unique characters that each one subsequently gets unlocked. However, they become more and more difficult, or they become more and more tedious, when of course the only things you really have to focus on in Slay the Spire is making sure that you have the cheapest cards in your deck, making sure you're able to play as many cards as humanly possible, and then after that making sure that you can get to the very end while going ahead and not dying by the hands of the boss. That right there sums up the game in of itself. However, since it takes a long time to take care of this, it becomes more and more impossible with each card that's unlocked and each relic that's unlocked. This is what leads to some things in where I call hate playing, and where you are playing the game but you are just absolutely loathing it. Many games have this mechanic, and I say that this is a bad mechanic to have in a game. A game should be fun, a game should have replayability, and while a game should offer some form of challenge, if it's difficult to create the challenge, at least the game should be fun. While playing this, it was a good distraction while going ahead and recovering from a flu. However, when it comes to anything else after that, it becomes more and more difficult, and I've seen myself get into other games like this. Now, why exactly didn't I stop this? Maybe it was the mentality that I've had before. After all, when I was younger and when I was growing up, I was pretty much given 2 games a year, one on my birthday and one during the Christmas time. However, when it comes to today's day and age, and where you can get as many free games as you want, I should go ahead and harbor the mentality, and where if there's a game that I don't like anymore, I shouldn't play it. And I really should have focused on that when it came to this type of game in of itself, because in the amount of time that I spent on this game, the hundreds of hours, I could have been focusing on myself physically, mentally, or even educationally. And I think that's something that all individuals should go ahead and strive to do, making sure that they focus on these 3 things. And also on top of that too, if you do enjoy video games such as I do, guess what? Time wasted on something that you enjoy isn't really wasted time. However, I wasted time on something that I did not enjoy. So people need to remember the fact that if it's something that you don't enjoy, do not waste your time on it. Make sure you focus on things that are more important. Furthermore, when it comes to this game, the way that it is designed and created, this is most ideally created for people that enjoy speed running mechanics. So you can actually beat this game in about an hour's time. However, you beat the game in an hour's time with only 1 character, and there's 3 more. After you get to the 4th and final character is when you can get tokens to unlock the heart and try and defeat said heart. But guess what? There's really no sense in defeating the heart even of itself. It's a very challenging battle, and on top of that too, it seems very unfair, especially if you're not given the appropriate relics or any of the type of cards that you actually need. So really, I wouldn't even focus on that. Furthermore, it's a very much a slap in the face when you actually defeat the heart, because the only perk that you get is an achievement and the ability to see beta cards that will be unlocked. You could simply go ahead and Google and find the images yourself, or go ahead and just not bother with it in general. I would say, if you really do enjoy the game and you enjoy card-based games, go ahead and enjoy it. However, the price tag is pretty steep at $25, and it could be even higher in other areas. I would focus on other games that have that very same mechanic of card-building based games that are cheaper and seem more readily available and more enjoyable. For now, I guess I'm a little bit jaded. I spent hundreds of hours on something that I didn't enjoy, on something that I thought I could do, and I went ahead and wasted times on things that I could have been focusing on to make things a little bit better. I think this is also something that has improved on my stats or improved upon my own personal self, and where I need to start looking at this and focusing on it if I'm going to be doing YouTube more seriously. So, I think when it comes to stuff like this, I will make sure I start focusing on my editing, making sure I focus on my commentary, making sure that I focus on my gameplay, but really making sure that I focus on things that I find fun. And if there's something that I don't find fun, but still trying to invest a little bit of time in that, or trying to get back some sort of monetary gain from the time I spent on it, I should be precise, clear, and go ahead and give the factual reasons, and then move on from it, as I should start focusing on things that I truly enjoy. If anyone goes ahead and gets to the end of this point, I would go ahead and reiterate that. Don't do something that you don't enjoy. Do stuff that you do enjoy. Make sure that you're focusing on things that are better for your physical self, your mental well-being, or even something that could help you out financially or even educationally. These 4 pillars are the most important things that you should focus on, instead of beating a game that you find not fun, not enjoyable. Also, that way then you could focus on an achievement that's going to go ahead and fade away in the next couple weeks. Make sure you play games that you love. Have a good time, and then just live a good life. Thank you again. I hope you made it all the way to the end of this, and I hope you have a great day. See ya.